I am Vesna Perisic from School of Mathematical Sciences at University of Southampton, and this is one of my regular updates and overview of e-assessment provision in our school. In a couple of slides and pics, I will tell our story, where we started with the assessment, where we are currently, and potentially where we are going with it. I would say that feedback and our frustration with feedback was a trigger for increased engagement with the assessment. Probably you will recognize the story if I tell you about frustration that we would have after marking weekly homeworks, spending a lot of time writing down useful comments for the students, never to collect, never to recognize as a feedback on their work and how to improve. So that was a trigger to start thinking of dividing the questions into those that are more proof-based and more algorithmic ones, and use e-assessment to deal with algorithmic ones. In doing so, COVID-19, the event that we didn't predict, came. And the increase for e-assessment, the need for e-assessment has rapidly increased. So it was a difficult time, however, so it was a time where we could experiment easily. And I have seen quite a lot of creativity, enthusiasm, and initiatives from the staff all around me. So what I also would say that in this difficult time we gain, and that is a confidence to use e-assessment for summative assessment and beyond year one modules, because kind of year one doesn't count towards degree classification. It was not a problem to implement e-assessment in year one, but we were very cautious about implementing e-assessment in the modules in higher years. So I will start with numbers since we are in Newcastle, and this is a latest contribution to our e-assessment provision. The colleague who is currently in charge of one of our second year engineering module is using numbers not only in formative but in summative assessment. His module is assessed through 100% exam at the end of the semester, and half of his exam, 50% of the exam, are multiple choice questions that are realized using numbers. I mentioned we are now, that is also an evidence of increased confidence in e-assessment in summative assessment. So our e-assessment story started with Davis and with what we called calculus driving test. Calculus driving test was developed with idea to support the students' transition from colleges to the university to higher education, in particular to remind them on what they have learned about differentiation, integration, and other calculus topics. I have reported about this on a previous EAMS. So calculus test was conducted in an invigilated environment, and the students were required to pass it on a level of 80% in order to be allowed to proceed to a calculus exam. And in general, students would achieve that. We didn't have a problem with a burden of 80%. However, now with the COVID, it was difficult to organize invigilated environment, and so there are indicators that calculus driving test is not doing what originally was aimed to do, so we will need to revise it. And where to start with the assessment? We did start with the computational exercises within our engineering modules, and there are then examples and projects in Davis in year 1 engineering module, where we were developing semester 1 test and part of the final exam. So this is a module taken by about 1,700 students. So that was kind of huge a change. And in the second year module also there were some examples. We developed some parts using Davis. In doing this, we had a huge and great help with a Davis team from UVE, especially RIS. I also cannot use enough opportunities to say thank you, RIS. Stuck is going strong at our is going stronger at our institution, and it could be that it's going to turning into one of the main e-assessment systems. There are many examples in which we have used a stack to realize our assessment, starting from optional tests in our mathematics modules on the foundation year, going over linear algebra 1 and 2, problem classes, problem sheets, class tests, and diverse topics from complex numbers to matrix problems and group theory. Our big stack project was multivariate calculus, where we recruited PhD students to do coding. That was an interesting project that I also reported on this event, on the similar conferences on e-assessment, followed by vector calculus and complex analysis. Again, the weekly problem sheets ranging from flux integral to residual calculus were coded in a COVID, and the latest contribution there was a provision for complex variable that is developed in collaboration with a Richard colleague from Edinburgh. And collaboration was created through such kind of me talking on conferences and saying what we were doing and what we would like to do. To mention at last not least, partial differential equations. So some of you who attended the stack community meeting in Austria were witnessed a talk given by my colleague David, who tried to address very successfully a student's concern with e-assessment. They would always complain, saying, "Oh, we don't have, we are not getting method marks, partial marks." And David tried to implement this partial marking in his quizzes, leading to potential response trees of quite interesting, quite a big size, let's say that. So now, where are we going with the assessment? I must say, I don't know. So it all feels like we are doing the assessment and engaging with this important and time-consuming topic as a hobby, or in our spare time, as Blaženka mentioned in her talk. So currently there is a lot. I'm not sure if it's going to stay that way. There are some advantages and disadvantages developing things as a hobby and in spare time. Currently, there is a lot of work around proofs, how in an authentic way to assess proof within mathematics. And since I am currently teaching analysis that is proof-based, so my commitment is to collaborate and to work and to see what I can contribute in terms of assessing analysis and its proofs. So here are some references that supported and inspired me, and maybe some other could find it interesting and useful. And I would like to thank you for your attention. If you would like to contact me, please contact me at vp@SouthernAC UK. Not VIP, just VP. Thank you.